a game that I don't know, man. Nick, I was coming back from the press conference and all that. What I saw tonight, I found this a difficult game to make a comment of. I mean, it seems to me, and I was feeling this. I'm not running by you,
Sure.
and perhaps to our listeners and viewers. It seemed like this was a game for Nashville to lose, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Nashville SC in their first League Cup match since 2023 of the League's Cup final against Inter Miami, August 19th of 23. They lose to Leon, Club Leon, Liga MX side that was honestly they came. I wouldn't say more prepared, but they came ready. I think they knew that they were playing with house money. They could come out and just play free and play free flowing in some sense. And losing 1-0, it's a tough loss for Nashville, but overall, I think you're right, Claudio. With the lineup that Nashville SC chose, or BJ Callahan chose in this case, it was the youngest lineup starting 11 in Nashville SC history, including USL and even MLS in this case. And, more kudos to Ben Wright for that one. He was the one that found that stat. So, yeah, it was real interesting. I mean, starting from the back, they had Xavier Valdez along with Thomas Williams, Josh Bauer,
Pretty good game.
Jack Mayer.
Williams.
Yeah, Williams had a very good game. I mean, that game could have been 2-0, easy.
Oh, yeah.
It could have been 2-0. He had a goal-saving slide tackle on the goal line to allow that not to go in, and that was in the 14th minute. So that was early. So I think Xavier Valdez was still a little shaky in some sense in between the pipes. But no, at left back, he had Reed Baker Whiting. And, BJ highlighted it well in the post-match press conference. I think that left side of the flank that was exposed well in all sense of, Reed Baker Whiting, Ali Assad, the newest addition to the squad, that they did a really good job of the combos and overlapping runs. Ali Assad and Charles Emile Brunet was one that brought this up in his little stand-up over in the media scrum, that he just says Ali Assad's more of that creative role.
Yeah.
And I think that's correct in the right sense of like when Randall Leal was here, he was a creative player. I think Ali Assad is that, but a little bit more quicker and more wittier with the ball.
And like any game, there is a tactical plan, a tactical drawing that the coach has draw. Just to forgive me for repeating my words before the game. But anytime, no matter how good tactically you are, if you don't put the ball inside the net, that tactical is just a loser.
Right.
And I believe in this case, if you got to put it that way, and you take both drawings from both coaches, Gadolfi and BJ, well, I'm talking about the Leon's coach, is the one that actually worked. I mean, whatever he planned, that happened. He knew actually what want to be on top of them. He managed to control the game on with a very low block for most parts, and then he knew sooner or later he's going to have a chance. And the only thing he needed to do, he had to do. From those chances, 1, 2, or 3, whatever we had to make one in, and that's it. And that was happened.
Yeah.
Could have been 2-0. You already described it.
Yep.
But on the other side, Nashville, even though it was a better team, I believe, in my opinion, it was a better team most of the game. Never found an easy opportunity. And I'm not talking no opportunities come easy, but from all that development for the game, this just wasn't enough opportunities, clear opportunities for this team to actually make a difference and win. It could have won 1-0 still,
Sure,
but it was never that close to actually be a score that they could take home. This looked to me and smelled more for like a tie, a 0-0 tie most of the time, not even a 1-1, but then one opportunity is all you take, it's all you need.
Yeah, and I thought in the second half when, BJ made a few adjustments, some substitutions, that is, bringing on Andy Nahar at right back and then putting Daniel Lovitz at left back for Reed Baker Whiting. I think it was unfortunate that we didn't see Andy Nahar a little bit earlier to see if they could, be a little bit more high in the attack with Reed on the left and Andy on the right. But, it is what it is. It's no worries on that on that front. But, I think Andy Nahar's yellow card early in the second half kind of hindered their opportunities attacking-wise. BJ Callahan said no to that, but I would have to disagree. I think it did hinder them a little bit just because, I mean, if they had the opportunity to, collect 6 points, so that'd be 2 wins in the next 2 matches in the Leagues Cup, I mean, you're going to need to have Andy Nahar ready to go, locked and loaded. So that's the big issue.
Nick, and we know this, and most of the fans know, and probably within the team also, starting with BJ, knows that this is in many ways a little of a different team than the one that left for the break before the World Cup break. And we said it before. And one of the things that I noticed, and I'm going to run this by you also, because obviously I respect your opinion. But one of the things that I'm noticing with this team, and I used in my last chronicle of the game in the last effort in Orlando, I use a word in Spanish that means parsimonia. When you take too much time to do something,
Yeah.
you're just starting building here and there, and you think all of a sudden whatever you're trying to build is gonna sooner or later or sometime it's gonna be built. Whereas correct me if I'm mistaken. Whereas before the break, Nashville was a team that takes us a little bit more in a hurry.
Sure.
The transition went faster.
Yeah, the transition they put a little bit more urgency.
Yes, sir.
As
And
we're
I don't
now,
see
it's-
that right now.
Yeah.
It's too much of a build-up process right there, and passing the ball like thinking this is gonna take us somewhere.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you go 70, 60, 70 minutes, and it's not taking you anywhere.
Well, I think the one, and thank you for bringing that up, it's naturally coming this way, is like Nashville did such a great job tonight, exposing the entire left flank with Reed and Elias Saad. Then when Andy was brought in, they exposed the right side of the flank with Andy Nahar and Ahmed Qasim. That connection really wasn't working that well. And then whenever the ball was transitioned back essentially to the defensive, I'd say the defensive backs, and then Jack Mayer and Thomas Williams, Jack always took the liberty of putting a diagonal ball to either Daniel Lovitz or Elias Saad to create that overlapping run. If Jack were to look right up the middle where Charles was, and I even asked Charles about that in the post-match media scrum, could there have been more opportunities through the middle? I think so. I think there were opportunities that Jack may have missed. And in that case, I think, probably should have, like you talked about, there was a little bit more urgency with this team before the World Cup. I think that's where they're lacking. The mentality of playing through the middle a little bit, that's where their urgency is lacking. And also, too, it does play a factor that Hani Mukhtar was not available tonight.
Yeah.
But let's play a spade is a spade. Hani Mukhtar is a huge factor in the buildup of this offense.
You know what scares me a little bit? The fact that it seems like when we're talking about these, and we said it a couple times already, the team seems to be missing two key pieces, which is Christian Espinosa and Patrick Jaspek. And the part that scares me is, even though I saw games tonight like Elias said, and also Emil Brunet, which we wanted to see. Remember, we talked about it, we wanted to see him. He did pretty good.
He did great.
He did great. But then again, Nick, do I have to do great to look by myself? How I keep thinking maybe he doesn't, maybe he's not. I don't know. Maybe he might. What would that be if I could play with those guys? Talking about what if I play with Jaspek? What if I play with Christian? What if I play with Warren on one side? What if I get to play with Serge? What if I get to play with Christian Espinosa on the other side? How would I look? You
got to anticipate how you would play with those guys.
Right. But then at the same time, he said, but I don't get the chance to do that.
Right.
Because once those guys are in, I'm in the bench.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, Claudio. And you're very critical for Costa Rican players, one of them being here in Nashville, and that's Warren Madrigal. Got his, the first start tonight since, returning from World Cup, along with a couple games from injury. What are your initial thoughts on how he played tonight? Because personally, to me, I don't know if he was much of a factor. I think off the ball he was good. But what was your initial assessment?
No, I don't think he was. He played a decent game.
Sure.
That's about it. That's not. He would probably be the first one to. He was upset when he was taken out. You saw him.
Yep.
Because he probably thought that he could still do something more for the team, and Warren would be the kind of guy that said, "No, I don't think I played that. That it hasn't been my best game tonight." But again, can he play much better with these guys, or he has to be, as he happens to be playing with the full squad? That's the problem. That's one thing it's difficult because you can say, well, I have 11 starters, but then I have another 8 that could probably do as a starter. Maybe. But when you have to play them all together, the ones that don't start, that's the different thing.
Yeah. You go back and let's use, for example, the Atlanta game when they had Hani, Sam, and Shaq Muhammad up top.
Yeah.
Shaq Muhammad got that late goal, right? Remember that?
Right.
But again, you have Hani and Sam who have built that chemistry throughout last season and this season. Shaq Muhammad is just, I wouldn't say there to clean up the play. Like you said tonight, there are players that have played with the higher ups or the A team, I'd say, in this sense, which is Warren Madrigal.
Yeah.
But he's playing alongside guys like Wubens Pacious. Again, Wubens, I think, did a really good job off the ball tonight, but I don't feel like he was effective in the attack. I thought that he played a little bit too wide because it didn't allow Ahmed Qasim to have some overlapping runs, along with him playing inverted. And to me, I think before Sam was in there, you saw Pacious kind of come back into the midfield, kind of how Sam and Hani have done in the past, but it didn't look comfortable for him. It did not look comfortable.
Let me get back to you with this question.
Sure.
Out of 10 times, How many times you're gonna see a very good game when you have a couple like Wolves and Madrigal on top?
It's tough.
That's tough.
It
Isn't
is
it?
tough.
Isn't it?
It is tough.
That's my point.
And also too, like I get,
Now, if your position is like I kind of felt from the coach tonight,
Right.
To actually give some minutes to the guys that don't start or don't play, that's fine. And
Yeah.
them I'm fine.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to actually win games and go far on a tournament like this, I'm not sure.
I think the one thing I try not to be too critical about, the selection of players along with the decisions made on and off the bench. But if you recall, if I recall correctly, whoever serves you right, Leon made changes at the half. They brought players on.
Right.
Nashville waited till the 65th, 60th minute to make changes. And to me, I think that just was a little too late. But again, that's not uncommon for Nashville to make adjustments in the 60th, 60th minute, 65th minute, because they always do that throughout MLS play, CONCACAF Champions Cup, even up to now in the Leagues Cup. So it wasn't uncommon, but I would have preferred to see a full half of 45 minutes. In this case, it would have been 50 minutes because there were 5 minutes of added time. I think it would have been beneficial for those players that haven't got a lot of play time, but I get why too, because you want to rest them for MLS play.
I mean, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure I understand that. Even after all these years covering soccer, how do you get into a tournament that it gives the three first teams a possibility of just going ahead and play the CONCACAF Champions, which is so difficult to get unless you finish one first and second in the
Yeah.
MLS. Well, that's difficult. That's even more difficult, in
It's-
my opinion. Well, how do you manage? How do you put on weights? What where you need to put your potatoes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's tough. Well, like, how do you manage everything? And that's always been the one issue with Nashville is when they've had to go play in CONCACAF Champions Cup or Leagues Cup in this case, they're never fully healthy. But for MLS play, they can get by with that. They can get by with having a mixture of the A side and the B side put together or filling out a full B squad like this tonight. I would say that's more the youngster squad. But I'm kind of at a loss of words because you want to see them be good in these tournaments, but when you're not healthy, it's hard to do that.
Yes, it is. Now, I mean, looking forward, Nashville plays here again at Geodis Park Sunday against an Atlético San Luis, which is I'm not sure. I'm not gonna say if it's worse or similar to the level of Leon. They lost 4-2 today in Miami. Well, I mean, it looks like it. It looks like it because of that. That is a team that is in trouble as well. But I mean, I gotta be honest.
Sure.
Nashville is not the same. It's not the same. So anything can give them a run for their money.
Yeah.
Really. Which before the break, this tonight, I'm with all due respect for the Leon people, this wouldn't have happened.
No.
It wasn't even going to be a close game.
If this team was fully healthy,
Yeah.
I could see Hani and Sam starting, and Sam has 2 goals, and maybe Hani has another. Like, this could have been a 3-0 game for them if they're fully healthy. But ands, if, and buts, candies and nuts, whatever they call it, that little funny phrase. But no, looking at San Luis, like you just mentioned, losing 4-2 to Inter Miami. Let's get this straight. Let's straight the facts here. Inter Miami filled out their full squad.
Of course.
Lionel Messi, their newest addition after the World Cup, Casemiro, Rodrigo de Paul. They had everybody. So
the problem with that, and I sorry.
No, go ahead.
But might help you to add some stuff to cover. Does it mean that because it seems like we're building, there's an atmosphere here around Geodis Park and the whole team that as soon as we get everybody in, Nashville will be the same team. That's dangerous.
It is. And like to look at it from a wider lens of just the Leagues Cup in general, I think because of what Gary Smith did in the first year of the Leagues Cup, going to the final, I think Nashville SC fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, I mean, I would love to hear feedback from this.
Sure.
I feel like that's the expectation. Am I wrong for that?
No, that's what
before this game.
I feel the same.
Yeah, before this game, I feel like they were so good in MLS play, and because of the Leagues Cup in 23, they made the final. I feel like that's the expectation for them to go back there. But after tonight's loss, I don't know, because it's tough. You have 18 MLS teams you're going up against in the Leagues Cup in the, I guess they call it phase 1 of the Leagues Cup group stage. So maybe 6 points may not even be enough. That's the big issue.
I don't know, but maybe there's 2 ways of looking at tonight's game, Nick. If you're looking at the MLS season and you say, well, What I'm trying to do is I'm getting a lot, and I think he did
Yeah.
say that, and I agree with BJ. I mean, I don't have to agree with him or anything like that, but if what he's looking is giving these other guys some time to show what they have, like he said in the press conference,
Yeah.
then that's fine. That's great. If that's your goal, you accomplish that tonight. That's fine. But if your goal is to go back to the champions by winning this tournament or playing the final or at least being the third, then tonight was a step back.
Yeah. And if they don't advance to the League's Cup, you know what's going to happen. They go back to MLS play. This team is going to be completely different. And what I mean by completely different, I mean they're going to attack the latter half of the MLS league aggressive, very aggressive, into the sense of like training's going to be a lot harder. I mean, the guys that are injured may not see the field that much more often. There's going to be a direct look at making a deep run into the
Well,
MLS
I like
playoffs.
aggressiveness.
Sure.
I like that.
And I think that's
it's-
something that's been missing.
But I gotta say this.
Okay.
That means if you want to be that aggressive, then you have to kind of think about this team becoming closer to the team that it was before the World Cup break than it is tonight.
Yeah.
It has to be.
It has
Because
to.
it doesn't matter then if you're aggressive or not. If your team is not having the performances that they had before, then it will be very difficult, or at least it will be very rocky to go back to the place. And hopefully not. But let's remember last season what happened. How many months was Nashville up in the front? It was going to be in the first four a playoff game here. That didn't happen.
Nope.
Didn't it?
It did not.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. No, I don't think so. It shouldn't happen this time. But I mean,
So looking ahead to Sunday, what do you think the starting 11 looks like? Do you think we see this lineup that I'm about to name off? Brian Schwacke, Jason Palacios, Maxwell Bellegi, Reed Baker Whiting, Andy Nahar, Eddie Tagseth, Matt Corcoran, Sam Surridge,
yep.
Warren Madrigal, and I guess in some case it'd be Ahmed Qasim, or would you put Elias Saad? I think it'd be Elias Saad, Madrigal. And
I go with you. I
Surridge.
mean, Shockey is being the great guy for the team, but Valdez wasn't. He didn't do anything.
No, he wasn't bad.
He
I
was,
just
he
think
was good. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't? I don't think the team is going to lose much if he comes back and plays a second game there. But there's definitely BJ will have to come back with a stronger.
yeah.
All the healthy ones have to come back because, well, if they lose this one,
Well, yeah, you're right. They're done. But I do think the team that I listed off is, I think, the best side they can put out right now.
right now,
For sure.
right now.
And we're talking talent for talent. That's the best
Yeah,
one they can put
maybe
out.
you probably discuss what if you put Kasem or Saad there, or maybe Madrigal and that mix. But those guys have to play.
And I understand why they've been kind of doing one or the other. Like if they put Josh Bauer in at right back, they put Reed in at left back. If they put, Andy Nahar in at right back, they have Daniel Lovitz in at left back. They try to counteract their balance of, that attacking style. Because if they have one in, they're going to attack down that flank. If they have Reed in, they're going to attack down the left flank. If you have both of them in, then your depth is then hindered, meaning if you have Daniel Lovitz and Josh Bauer, that means that back line's gonna have to play a little bit more deeper.
Yeah.
You can't go higher up into the attack. So if they really want to be aggressive about it, you start Reed and Andy. But again, that's the aggressive approach.
Well, if the aggressive approach, in my opinion, has to start with Nashville becoming that strong team that will fast enough in transition,
Yeah.
and quick enough to get to the other side, not this passing of the ball
Yeah.
back and forth in the back and building and all that process that, as you see right now, for whatever reason, they're trying to play more secure football, if we want to put it that way, not try to keep possession. But a lot of times, this is true. There's teams that keep possession for longer and longer periods of time. If they don't make a goal, they lost by one. Like
Yeah.
tonight.
And I think for Nashville's case, the way they've been playing stylistically, like as of late, you're talking about rotating the ball around and just keep rotating around and around. To me, I think playing it more laterally, they're trying to find those pockets of space into the middle. But if you're not being aggressive to look towards the middle, you just keep rotating around and trying to find those overlapping runs to beat on the outside. I don't think it works.
Could it be that there's some of the problem with some of the players, not a problem, but that's just the truth.
Yeah.
What happens when you have a player sitting on the bench for so long and then you give him a start, he wants to make the least mistakes possible.
Right.
And then they play that kind of a safe soccer style that doesn't take you anywhere pretty much.
I think we saw it.
That, and that's the problem.
We saw it in Washington when Elias Saad was subbed on the last 20, 30 minutes. His first touch wasn't great. He was all over the place. Tonight when he started, he looked like the Elias Saad that they got off the transfer market on loan. I think that's the player they've been looking for. So
I think he decided to play more collectively. Remember we talked about
that's
that?
true. That's true.
Okay.
But I think he adapted to the play.
He wanted to actually make things happen by himself, and that's just that's not gonna work with
I
BJ.
would disagree with that. I think he put in some service balls from the left flank into the back post, and even Sam gave the little thumbs up and the clap of the hands. I thought Elias Saad did a pretty good job tonight.
Oh, he did. He did. I
Yeah.
mean, he looked much better to me, and he showed me that he can be a difference. He can make a big difference in this team, even from starting. It seems like he could probably be some people have to fight him for the start position here.
Right.
I'm not sure it's going to be Kasim. I'm not sure if it's going to be Warren Madrigal, but between them three, there's a position there to fight for.
If there was a person that had to pick tonight, it would be tied. It would be Jack Mayer and Ahmed Kasim. I think those two were I'd say, players
At
that
the same time,
regressed.
It's not that I disagree, but at the same time, the first play that starts with all that ball passing back and forth is Jack.
It is. You're right.
It is Jack.
It's Jack, because you build everything out of the back. You're right. You're right.
And so that becomes I mean, you could see, and I was like, wow. Every time the ball got to Jack, he step on it, just
And hold it.
and
Then play the diagonal to the left. That ruins the pace of the play, and it ruins the opportunity where you could play it up the middle to Charles. He makes the turn, looks up, and sees if he can play it out wide. The hourglass is out.
And I don't think that's Nashville style of play.
No.
Dynamism, movement on the form off the ball, all that stuff.
I call it desperation soccer, because you're trying to push the ball up as high as you can into the attacking third just to put a chance on goal.
If you're the opposite team, what you do? Just watch. It's fine.
And I get,
They don't make you. You're not gonna make me wrong or do anything else. I'll just watch you play.
and I get Leon was very tight in the low block. I understand all that. But when you have that space, take the space up the middle. Keep taking the space, because when you do that, then you can play it out wide.
And a lot of times when that happens, is when the player does that, is because there's no movement.
Right.
Among their peers. But Nashville was moving. There were plenty of players moving around, trying to get open and stuff like that. And still, Mayer was the culprit of doing that. And then sometimes, what's the name of the guy that played tonight? Williams? No,
Thomas Williams.
Thomas Williams.
Yep.
He started doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Kind of following it.
They were mimicking each other.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's a no against a team like that. Sooner or later, you have to try something. And there's going to be mistakes going forward. But in one of those, you'll break.
Yeah.
And you'll probably go and get a good opportunity.
Well, because like I was saying with the low block, if Leon's playing that tight low block with their back line and their midfield pressed together, take all that space up front. And if Charles or Brian Acosta or whoever's up there up close to the top of the box, you find that angle on the outside. And when you run down the line there, you can find that cutback pass that Nashville was so good at before the World Cup. You find the cutback pass and you put it on net or back post or go for the rebound. And then I think that's the big issue that they're lacking right now. That's the creativity inside the 18.
That's exactly right. And when you have a team with that low block like we had tonight, Club Leòn, what happens? It closes a part of the field that Nashville explodes so well. We talked about it before.
Yeah.
The pockets were just not open tonight for anybody. Besides the fact that Mokhtar wasn't there.
Sure.
And Suric wasn't there either.
Yeah, Suric didn't start.
We come back and make that happen and open. It seemed like it wasn't an easy game for Club Leòn, but their tactics play on their favor all game long, pretty much.
Yeah, and to the coach's point from Club Leòn, he said, "Yeah, we only had one day to really prepare for this." It just, if you're a Nashville SC fan or if you're a Nashville SC player, you're kind of sick to your stomach after hearing that, because obviously they've had a very congested schedule the last couple of days in MLS, but at the same time they had the opportunity to win in Washington, and they drew 2-2, and then you come here tonight and lose 1-0. Another factor to this before we wrap this up, you mentioned about Sam and Hani dropping deeper. I thought tonight Woobens, he tried that, but it didn't work out the same.
He's much slower than them.
Yeah.
He's much slower.
He's a true, I would call him a back to goal number 9.
Yeah.
Where he's playing you back here.
Right,
gets the
or
ball
in
possessed.
between the two back defenders.
Back defenders.
Yeah.
Or once he gets the ball, he grabs it, touch, boom, passes it back to the midfield to play a ball over the top. I think that's more of his style of play. I could be wrong though.
No. And so the problem, that's another thing. When you have Mokhtar and Zurich playing there, you're looking for passes. Vertical passing to neutralize what the defense is doing. When you have somebody else that doesn't play like them, then you start playing the wreck sometimes. And you have no choice. Or keep the ball in the back like they did all the game long. And
that's what led to Jack playing the diagonals to the left side of the flank. That makes sense.
So, I mean, a lot has to change
Yeah. Sometimes
to win.
Sometimes getting younger isn't better. Sometimes younger is.
I don't think now you play a bad game.
No.
But it's not enough.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I was just making a joke.
I know, but it's not enough.
Yeah. Well, with that, Claudio, I guess
Sunday.
Back on Sunday, yeah, as they take on Atletico San Luis from Liga MX.
And they must win.
Yeah, it is a must-win game if they want to keep their hopes alive in the League's Cup. Nashville SC still sit atop the Eastern Conference in MLS play. Is that correct?
It is.
Yeah. Inter Miami is right behind them, I think, trailing 1 point. So, I mean, after their performance tonight.
There's time. There's plenty of time.
Sure, there is.
But things seem to be getting a little bit.
And tonight, before we let you go, I think the best thing to say to Nashville SC fans, Hani Mukhtar, as PJ Callahan said, depending on how he responds to the stem work that they have, stem cell work, I guess they got going on, he's day to day. So that's what he said in the press conference.
He missed him tonight.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, Claudio, appreciate it as always. The video version on Nashville Total Sports on all the pages. If you want to get the audio version, you know where to go. The Talking Calcio podcast on 1025 The Game's podcast platforms. Catch yourself right here, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier, alongside the one and only Claudio Villalobos with Nashville Total Sports. You can hear me Monday through Friday on the Jason McJoe Show, noon to 3, and then on the Weekend Huddle from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Saturdays.
Send him a tweet and ask him why he's called Dr. Crane. Don't say it now.
Yeah, would love to get your answers on all that. We appreciate it. As always, thank you very much. We'll see you guys in the next one. Ci vediamo.